But they asked me where I was born, right? And I'll be like, I was born in Houston, Texas. I was raised in Houston, Texas. I've only been to Nigeria once in my life for 2 months. And they'll be shocked. Be like,
Bro, they used to clown Nigerian kids, bro, like ridiculous. Like they used to call us all type of jokes in the book, like non-stop, bro. Like it got to a point I had to start fighting, bro.
In my African culture, I definitely feel like the differences were so drastic because it would be like I'd talk about certain things and people would look at me like I'm from a third world country. And I'm just like, are you so serious right now?
I have a tattoo that says Nigerian they carry last, which translates to Nigerians don't finish last. I love my culture, and I say God and being Nigerian helped me get successful.
you know, one of my biggest flexes that I have is the fact that when people ask me where I'm from, I say Nigeria. But I'm not done yet, hold up. But they asked me where I was born, right? And I'll be like, I was born in Houston, Texas. I was raised in Houston, Texas. I've only been to Nigeria once in my life for 2 months. And they'll be shocked and be like, but you speak the language, you know the dances, you act, Nigerian. And I'm like, yeah, but like I was still born here, bro. It's just like, But I feel like it's a flex though, because it's just like you don't really see a lot of Nigerian people that are born here or born in the States that honestly that still speak the language. Like a lot of kids do not know their language. Like they can probably understand it, but for them to speak it, and no shade on them, like no shade at all, because I understand like a lot of parents don't even be teaching. They come to America and it's like they don't be teaching their kids, so I understand. But I can probably say that my parents taught me the language, and people be so confused that or shocked of the fact that I was born in America and raised in America. I wasn't one of those people that was born in America, raised in America, but I went back to Nigeria for like 2-3 years, and I instantly came back like so African. Nah, that didn't happen to me. My parents, and I just learned the culture, bro. I learned the dances. I grew up on the food, obviously. And yeah, bro, like I can probably say that I was born here, but I know everything that I need to know.
Man, I used to be so embarrassed to be Nigerian, man. It's crazy. I used to lie all the time in school. They'll ask me where I'm from. Remind you, I've lived in Nigeria for like 5 years, and I moved out here to America. I was born in Chicago, moved to Nigeria, and came back. When I came back, I had the strongest accent, and they'll ask me, where you from? I'll be like, I'm from Chicago. They were like, boy, no, you're not. You from Africa. I'm like, no, I'm from Chicago. I was born in Chicago. Like, no, you wasn't. Man, I used to lie all type. They'll ask me, your parents Nigerian? Nah, I'll be like, no, my parents, they are born in America. Yeah, they are from America. They was born in Chicago too. Boy, them kids knew I was lying too. Bro, they used to clown Nigerian kids, bro, like ridiculous. Like they used to call us all type of jokes in the book, like non-stop, bro. Like it got to a point I had to start fighting, bro. I got tired of hearing them jokes. I had to start fighting, but it's crazy because once we hit puberty, high school, college, now everybody love Nigerians. They want to be Nigerian. They want a Nigerian man. Like, this the same girls who used to, like, clown you in 5th, 6th grade. Now everybody want to be a part of the culture. It's crazy. I'm just saying this just to let y'all know, be proud of where you from, man. Whole time people probably just want to be a part of your culture. That's all it is, or they just jealous of you. Don't hide your culture. Be proud. Wear it strong. Man, it took me a minute to learn. I used to be like ashamed just because of the way people used to talk. I ain't want to come to school eat Nigerian food. Now everybody want to try Nigerian food. Now everybody love it. I used to like hide Nigerian food from my friends and stuff like that just to fit in with my friends. Man, y'all be proud of who you are, man. Cause bro, at the end of the day, that's where you from. You can't change where you from. They're gonna love you or they're gonna hate you.
As Nigerians going to an HBCU, right? It sounds like, okay, you guys really were feeling the difference between being African Americans and being Africans.
Especially for me, someone who's a little bit more Americanized
Mhm.
in my African culture, I definitely feel like the differences were so drastic because it'd be like I'd talk about certain things and people would look at me like I'm from a third world country. And I'm just like, are you so serious right now?
I'm Nigerian American, so my last name is actually pronounced Chibueze. And just growing up in Virginia, like everybody just did not know how to enunciate my name. So they was just like, Shabuzi. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna just run with that. Telling my homies, should that be my artist name? I was pretty skeptical about it, but they was like, nah, that's hard. Keep it. I think they fucked me over in the long run, but I love it, man.
Nigerians are one of the most successful immigrant groups in the United States.
Nigerians know how to finesse, like straight up. We know how to get things done. We know how to position ourselves in the best place in the room. I've seen it. My dad does it. Like, I see it. In terms of strategy, we win that. And in these types of arenas, New York, LA, London, Paris, like it's a game.
Yeah.
And I feel like Nigerians just know how to play the game.
And the way that you're raised has a really serious impact on how successful you are. And Nigerians have a really strong focus on higher education. Africans in general, like my mom is still begging me to get my master's degree to this day.
I went to my cousin's wedding, and just to announce her took like 5 minutes. It was like PhD, MSc, MPH. I was like, how many degrees does she have? Degrees are the sixth love language of Nigerians.
Like Yvonne's family, many Nigerians who moved to the U.S. in the latter part of the 20th century doubled down on their culture, almost as a means of protection against inheriting the prejudice they saw Black Americans face. And as another means of combating discrimination, they placed an especially strong focus on higher education. So much so that they're the most educated immigrant group in the country.
So that's why when I became a comic, I think my mom was thinking, what will I tell people that you are? You're a clown. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm not a clown. You've never seen a clown look this good.
No, but I love being Nigerian American. I do, because we're so good at a lot of things. We are. You know, Nigerian, they carry last.
I have a tattoo that says Nigerian, they carry last, which translates to Nigerians don't finish last. I love my culture, and I say God and being Nigerian helped me get successful, because it was this drive of anything that I was supposed to put into being a doctor, I put into being an artist. So that same drive, that same like work ethic.
It was all from your Nigerian identity.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk about it. So one thing people don't talk about a lot with Nigerian Americans is the types of Nigerian Americans in America. For example, you have Nigerian Americans like me that were born in America and raised through the American system. And then from there, our parents at home who were Nigerian made sure we understood we were Nigerian. Then you also had Nigerian Americans who were the same, whereby they were born, raised in the system. But some of their parents did not want to integrate the Nigerian mentality in them, in terms of they wanted them to adapt to America, so they let them become more Americanized. Then you have the people that migrated to the United States that were born in America that maybe came as a kid. Then you have the ones that came as an adult. So there's so many sides to it, right? And that's why I said that when it comes to debates like that, there's so many perspectives you have to understand. Because even the thing with Emmanuel Acho, I remember one thing he said was he went to a predominantly white school and all. But then your perspective is still going to be different, because even with that, I went to a white school at one point, but majority of my life, I was in a black school, and I saw the difference in terms of how I was treated in the black schools compared to the white schools. Now, the funny thing is, there was racism on both sides, but I felt the racism the most in the white schools. Why? Because I stood out already as a black kid. Not a Nigerian, a black kid. So the thoughts or the act or the effects of being black, I felt it every day. Compared to the black school, I felt safe. I felt at home. Even if there was a little racism, it's all blacks. But it was amongst my black friends that they were able to identify that I was African. And then from there, that's where I made a personal decision in terms of, hey, I like being Nigerian. You know, I want to find out more. So I would ask my mom questions more. I would pay attention to stuff. And I would listen to the music more, understand my culture. Now, yes, I was blessed to go to Nigeria early and visit. And then later on down the line, I went again. And obviously at this age now, I moved back. So it was very early to adapt, because earlier on, I made a personal decision to understand being Nigerian, while a lot of people didn't. Because let us all be honest to ourselves, it is just recently in the last 5 years, maybe longer, that now it's cool to be Nigerian. Because let's not lie to ourselves, there are lots of Nigerian Americans who just started accepting they're Nigerian. And I'm not one to knock anybody. I'm not about to say, oh, you're less Nigerian, nothing. The fact that you're starting is fair. And I know this because I have so many cousins, people that had never been to Nigeria and only came for the first time this last 2-3 years because I brought them. Or we're the ones telling you guys about Dirty December and all that. And even some of you are just coming. So there's still a lot to learn, but there's so many perspectives.
I was having a conversation with my Uber driver yesterday about something that I don't think we talk enough about. He was Ghanaian and I'm Nigerian, and we were just talking about, how we do when Africans meet, just talk about how terrible it is to live on a continent, be from a continent that has so much abundance. Meanwhile, the people themselves suffer and struggle and don't have access to those resources. And the reason I don't think we talk enough about it is because I feel like Black people across the diaspora, in my opinion, live in this cognitive dissonance that because Africans stayed in Africa, that they were better off. Because Africans know their roots and they never left, they were better off. And additionally, are under the belief of this propaganda that it's actually the Africans' fault that this happened to us because they sold us off. And the reason I say that there's a cognitive dissonance is because on one hand, I see this attempt by Africans to rewrite the narrative of the perception of Africa on the world stage. A lot of, in my opinion, rich kids go back and they take videos and pictures and say, this is the real Africa, not the Africa that you see in the news. And granted, the photos and videos of the starving kids in the village with flies all over them is also not the real Africa. But doing it that way is also missing, in my opinion, the full nuance and context of what's still going on till this day to Black people across the diaspora. Because to say, well, look at us, we're living good over here, this is Wakanda, while simultaneously having so many of our population risk their lives to go to countries to willingly immigrate to, those same countries that forcefully displaced their ancestors centuries ago. They're risking their lives to willingly do that. I wonder why that's the case. And I say this as someone that comes from Nigeria, so I understand that not every single country on the continent experiences this, but enough of them do. In my opinion, Nigeria, my country, is a giant oil company that happens to have people in it, because that's how it's run. Nigeria has so much oil, it's giving Dubai. It's giving Saudi Arabia. But is it giving that in Nigeria? Absolutely not. In fact, that same resource, Nigeria always has a shortage of it. It's always inflating that same resource. It's selling it back to its people way more expensive than it should be. And it's also always running out of it. Isn't that interesting? And I could talk about this forever. The puppet government, the shadow government of it all. But it burns my chest and it burns my soul just thinking about it. But I just want to leave you with one thing, one thought. What was the biggest weapon that the Europeans brought to the continent? What weapon does someone have against someone that is physically stronger than them? They mess with their mind. The biggest weapon that the Europeans brought to the continent, in my opinion, was psychological manipulation. And in my opinion, many of us, till this day, across the diaspora, are still psychologically manipulated. Until we get free here, we will never truly be free.
I'm Nigerian. Of course I'm not telling you my travel plans. You mad? Oh my gosh, you're 4 hours late. I'm Nigerian. That's actually early. We're 2 for 1 now. It's not that hard. I'm Nigerian. Of course I'm gonna bargain the price. Come on, I'm your customer. Eh? I'm Nigerian. Of course I'm not allowed to date until I'm married. Oh, my mom is coming. Stop.
I'm Nigerian. Of course we're gonna celebrate at the Chinese buffet. And I brought my takeaway too.
Hey, I need a doctor. I'm Nigerian. Of course I'm a doctor. Oh yeah, cough it out.